They make quizzes. Like, these things are stupid. I just want to make like really hardcore Asian American content, whatever that means, right? You know, I was making like emotional skits on my upbringing in Ohio as a Chinese American kid who cannot speak Mandarin. I was making videos about kids who would grow up in their family's restaurants, and that restaurant was a symbol of the parents' love for their kids. Like, that's the stuff I wanted to make. And to go to BuzzFeed to make a quiz about what, I don't know, Harry Potter character you should be, like, this is just nonsense. Well, I took the job. And I said, okay, I'll be here for 4 months, and I want to go back to Ohio. First day there, I go to LA, and I immediately fall in love with the place. I start to meet all these amazing creative people who love making content, who are also Asian Americans, who are advocating for our community. And I was just thinking, why are they making cat videos if they care so much about the Asian American community? Why? I couldn't figure it out. Started making videos there. We had this quota where we had to make 1 video a week. And I started making videos. I made this video, kind of embarrassed by it. Well, my first video was a cat video, actually. that video was called Cats Knocking Stuff Over. Great hit, you should check that out. You can Google that. But I was making videos about Asian American experience. And I had this was the embarrassing one. I had kids have the sex talk with their Asian parents. I had Asian Americans try different types of Asian beauty apps. You know those apps that you can like adjust your skin tone and remove the acne and all that stuff. It's kind of trippy. And I was trying all this stuff where, like, kind of trying to dig into the Asian American experience. But I noticed that the views that I was getting on these videos was less than half of my dumb cat video. And I was like, why are people not watching these videos? Why do they not care about my identity? This is why I came here. Well, fast forward, and my boss said, hey Steven, you're doing really great with the Asian American stuff. Would you like to make some food content? I said, no, food content is boring and stupid. I don't care about food. I like Subway and McDonald's. Done. I'm from Ohio, by the way, the home of Wendy's, White Castle, Jenny's Ice Cream, some great stuff out there. And I just thought, I don't want to make food content. But alas, I had to listen to my boss, so I went and I made some food videos. My first video, I made it with a few friends, and I noticed that, wow, these people that are, like, one of them, she's African American, her name is Freddie. She was part of this first food video I ever made. She's part of Ladylike, if you guys ever watched BuzzFeed, and there's no Ladylike. One of them was my co-host right now on my show. His name is Andrew Nicky. He's from a white descent. And then there was the 3 of us, right? And I realized, wow, we come from such different cultural backgrounds. We grew up eating such different food, and we can come together and have a meal together and just talk about our upbringing. And that's really what's cool about tonight too, is that we're here sharing a meal together, and we can talk about our upbringing, whether you come from an Asian upbringing or not. And I realized at that moment that food can be this amazing touch point for me to talk about myself, my identity with other people. And so that was what I realized. Food can be a Trojan horse of sorts to talk about things that you really want to talk about. And so I started making food videos, more food videos. Then I fell in love with food. I mean, who doesn't love food, right? But I fell in love with the art of it and the story behind it and the people who were behind the food and pouring really their life into the artistry of a dish. And now I do this really silly show where we try a $1 burger and a $100 burger and we talk about it. But you know what's amazing about it is that we get to do that and talk about food from a cultural standpoint. And it's really wonderful. You know, there were challenges along the way. When I pitched the idea first, there actually was somebody who told me, you know, Steven, like, it's a great idea, but maybe you shouldn't be in it. Maybe you should cast these 2 other guys. And the 2 other guys were white guys. I'm not saying I don't like white people, but I'm just saying I've seen that show before. I've seen that on Netflix, I've seen it on Food Network, I've seen that perspective. But what about if you have an Asian American kid who grew up eating fried rice and steak together, talk about food? And so I said, I politely was like, I don't think, and it was a risk, by the way. Those people, and this is the way that Hollywood thinks, is those people are box office, right? They're the ones who have the facial recognition, the name, brand, and if we put them in it, it'll definitely do well. But I just realized I gotta stick to what I came here for and make content for my people. So we made the show. I didn't compromise. I brought in my white co-host. His name was Keith at the time. And so we had this great dialogue. Actually, Keith is no longer with the show. R.I.P. Keith. He's not dead, sorry. I can't actualize, a lot of people don't know where it is, so I have to be more inclusive. Anyway, so Keith is not dead. He had a different project, and we brought in another co-host. His name is Andrew. And just the wonderful thing about it is, our friendship was pretty surface level coming into the show, but over time, I've gotten to hear his story and his background, and I've gotten to share my story and my background. And the show is the biggest show at BuzzFeed now. We get over 5-10 million views per video, and it's about food, but it's also about sharing the stories of people all around the world. And like I was saying at the very beginning of this talk, I was personally ashamed that, to make a food video or a cat video, but I think this is a really important lesson for all of us, is that it's important to talk about these things, but it's important to find the cultural touch point where you can bridge yourself to the other person beyond you. So whether that is food, or sports, or the Olympics. The Olympics are the most amazing thing, right? We all speak different languages, and we come together and we talk about sports. So, I will say, now it's really funny, so when I started working at BuzzFeed, I did not want to be in videos, but I don't want to say I was ashamed of being there, but I just didn't want to associate at the time, because I didn't understand BuzzFeed. But, over time, you start to be in videos, and I remember reading the comments when I first started, and it was like, people were saying, that Asian kid. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in middle school again. People were talking about me in middle school. But over time, I started realizing the more I would appear in videos, the more I would appear, they'd actually start to refer to me by my name, Steven. Sometimes they would call me Eugene or Ryan, which are the other Asians at BuzzFeed. But over time, they got to distinguish between me and Eugene and Ryan. And yeah, all I can really do is laugh, right? But it's really wonderful that I can not just be that Asian kid or the Chinese American kid or whatever, but I have a name. And I think that's really important also for us in this room as we're interacting, crossing cultures and bridging ourselves to other people, is to call them by their name, pronounce their name right, and really care and love them. Yeah. So, I do want to say, for you guys out there, you may not be able to be on a platform, like a YouTube video platform, wherever, but I think it's actually more important to make connections with each other in person. And we live in a generation, I don't want to sound like an old guy, I'm not that old, but where we're all on our phones, all of us are on our phones, and we're trying to connect through social media, but there's nothing really beats an old-fashioned conversation. And sometimes it just means taking a risk and reaching out to somebody across the table from you, or taking a risk of talking to somebody that looks different from you. It's unnatural, but it will be really rewarding in the end to be able to talk to somebody and to know them by name, and not just identify them as, oh, you're Burmese, or you're African, or you're whatever you are, right? You are who you are, and everybody, I heard about the third culture kid. I think that's so true, right? We are not defined by our ethnicity, but by our upbringing, our family, our interests, so much more than that. So, thank you guys so much for having me here. I'm honest. Oh yeah, that's right. Thank you guys. I do want to say, I said at the beginning of this is really special that we're here. And as somebody in entertainment, I do want to make a very, very selfish plea to you right now. And that is that after Crazy Rich Asians, I see among my peers and my friends, we are all starting to get cast for roles that we would never before have been cast. And it's really, really amazing that people are valuing the Asian American experience and the Asian American voice. And so the difference between right now being a movement and just a trend is going to be you guys. Are you going to support the community? Are you going to be there and buy those tickets? Are you going to support somebody's Patreon? And we're hot right now. We are trendy. Asian Americans, we're cool. We've always been cool, but now the world realizes how cool we are. But and I know a lot of you are not Asian Americans, and that's why I say you guys are actually even more important for us than we are, because we will come out for our community, but we need people outside our community to come in and learn about us and really support us. So please, support your artists, your Asian American artists. Go out to their concerts, watch their shows, leave comments behind. Not leave comments. I read all the comments. They actually teach you not to read the comments when you get the BuzzFeed, but it doesn't work. Reach for them on Twitter. Pay with real money to show that you support them, because this is a very unique and special time, and it's so crucial, I think, in the landscape of film history that we actually take this and we move forward with it in a monumental way. So please come out and support. Thank you guys so much again. All right.